Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people, and Tina Malone is one of them. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Alex, and thanks for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. So let's describe the picture then. Here I am sat at my desk talking to you, and you've got a baby on your knee.
Yes, actually, I've just got in from town. I've just been and had lunch with my husband, and I'm sitting on my couch eating a packet of 12 with my gorgeous 11-week-old beautiful daughter playing, lying asleep, and just, well, actually, no, she's got one eye open, really, and I'm still looking at her in absolute awe.
All right, we're going to cover all of this, but I've got to start with you're eating 12s. Now, you look delicious. How are you able to do that and lose weight?
Well, to be honest, 5 years ago, I had the gastric balloon. I'd got to 19 stone. I was seriously depressed, and I was eating like a pig. I was injecting insulin 3 times a day and on 38 tablets a day for everything from beta blockers to metformin, almodipine, lisinopril for anxiety and one thing and another, and coupled with the weight and you know, the diabetes and the Cushing syndrome. I'm now 5 years on. Well, this time last year I was size 8 and down to 8 stone 2 from 19 stone 2.
Wow.
And to be honest, I've had a gastric band. It's well known. I had the balloon, lost 4 stone, had the balloon taken out after 6 months in 2009, and then regained 2 stone, as you do. Because I'm OCD, bipolar, all those things, I can't, unfortunately, Alex, moderate. So I need something like a gastric band, either that or cut my throat to stop me eating everything to excess. So, yeah, I managed to get, in fact, I only got up to 13 stone with flame at the end of my pregnancy, and I'm back down now to 11.2. So within the next 2 or 3 months, I will be back down. Once I've had my band tightened again, next week, I will get down to size 8 again.
I've got great admiration for you. I mean, you're talking to a guy who's just lost 4 stone. I, like you, have battled with weight my entire life. What worries me about this, though, as is the case with you, it's a life thing, isn't it? There's no such thing as a diet. You've got to make it as part of your life.
You know what the problem is nowadays, and I could write a book, let alone my autobiography. I could write a book on diets, as probably you can. I come from a heavily dominated group of women in my family, you know, the Irish Catholic, and my mum and her 4 sisters are all very beautiful women. I'm very lucky to be slim and gorgeous. My mother's 8 stone and size 8 and always has been, but they watch what they eat. And my mum has said all her life, moderate. Well, as with everything, whether it was smoking, drinking, work, sex, whatever, I can't moderate. It's not in my vocab. Doesn't happen to me. So hold my hands up. The only way you're going to control my eating was a gastric band or a gastric bypass. And I know that sounds drastic, but having tried everything from Slimming World and Weight Watchers and Light and Life and Lipo Trim, the Cambridge diet, the heart and lung, the banana, the cabbage, blah, 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 what you do realise is these diets do all work. But it's maintaining, it's not losing the weight, it's maintaining. Now, you've done it, obviously, the hard way, Alex. But what I would say with most people is, and I guarantee when you see these slimmers of the year who've lost, you know, maybe 6 stone, 8 stone, 10 stone, I guarantee it's in your makeup, whether it's genetically or your psyche, to overeat, to overindulge with food, and you got to a place where you were that big, it will come back on you again the minute you have a traumatic situation or you're a comfort eater or whatever. So the gastric band is for life. I kept it in during my pregnancy. I'm the first ever only what they call celebrity, although I hate that word, to do that, to be pregnant with IVF at 50 and keep the gastric band in. And it just got pushed up while the uterus expands along with the liver and the kidneys, etc. And it's worked for me. I mean, you know, I lost 8 stone in the first 8 months, and over 24 months, I lost 11 stone. So it's simple as that.
Again, I absolutely admire you for it. I mean, my whole day's spent worrying about eating and worrying about not eating. Where are you at now with it? I mean, you can't physically eat, but you still...
The simple answer is, and it sounds that easy, but... to eat, all these fads that we have, don't eat at night, is absolute scientific garbage. You are supposed to have your meal at whatever time. You are supposed to have supper. People say, oh yeah, but if you eat after 6, it will stay on you. And look, I've lost 5 pounds in 2 weeks, it shows. That's absolute garbage. That's just because you cut down. Your body is not affected by the times you eat. The only reason they go on about breakfast is because it kickstarts your metabolism, because it has been resting. But if you don't eat from 6 o'clock, your body almost goes into shock and goes, right, you're not going to eat between now and 7 or 8 in the morning, right? So therefore, your body goes into shock and doesn't work as hard. But that's why you still eat your tea, whether it's between 6 and 8, and then you eat at night, whether it's 10 or 11 or 9, and you have supper, whether it be toast or crackers or a pudding or whatever. The key is this. It's this simple, Alex. Eat little and often. So now I do eat spinach every day. I do eat porridge every day. I do have, well, I attempt to have an English breakfast at weekends because I love them. I can't get them in.
So does the dog.
Excuse me, that's my cocker. She hears someone walks past, she goes ballistic. But, you know, it is that simple, little and often, and you can eat anything. When I say I'm sitting here now with Cadbury's chocolate buttons and a packet of twirls my husband's just given to me, and I eat a couple of them, and then I'm bursting. So I eat chocolate every day, Alex. You see, I was never a pie or a pasty girl. I'm a chocolate and cake girl.
Yes, same here.
You know what? You'd have to shoot me to stop me eating chocolate.
What's interesting about you, though, you've always been sexy and you've certainly never had a problem with sex. And I know for me, I'm ginger and deeply unattractive, so being fat as well, it couldn't be worse if I was German. You've never had that. No, honestly. So,
Alex, no, do you know what? It's a funny thing, isn't it, with women? You know, you can laugh someone into bed, you know? I played a fat, funny scouse bird for 20 years. I mean, I always remember reading Cary Grant's biography years ago, and you know where it said he pretended to be somebody he wanted to be till he became that person.
Right.
My problem is I was that fat and enormous. I knew how ugly I had become, but this isn't a facade or bravado or bull. This is the truth. I walk in a room and I'm astonished if all the men don't fancy me, even when I was a monster. I just don't get it. So it never affected my confidence, low self-esteem with things that have maybe happened in my life to me, you know, whether that be abandonment, rejection, failure, insecurity or whatever. Low self-esteem is a very different thing than confidence. Very different. Every job I go for, I think they're insane if they don't take me, unless I'm not right and they're looking for a 6 foot 8 stone blonde who's 25 years of age. But I am astonished when every man doesn't want me. I always have been. I don't, you know, when people say, oh, you're punching above your weight, literally, God in heaven, I'd have had to be coming on to Robert De Niro to punch above my weight. Nobody is. And I think, you know what, that comes from having a wonderful father, a very stern, very strict father, but having a really wonderful father who said to me at a very young age, you know, good boys and bad boys like good girls. So always keep your hand on your halfpenny. And I always knew from a kid I was never going to be anyone's for a bag of chips and half a lager. So, you know, I think far too highly of myself, I guess, where men are concerned. But in saying that, you know, people keep telling me how ordinary I am. I don't think I'm anything special. And, you know, my daughter is very beautiful. My mother's very beautiful. Alex, you know, you just said about yourself, believe you me, love, I was hit with the ugly stick. It jumped a generation, the beauty with me, but I got the brains and the personality. And being a woman, you can laugh people into bed. Do you know what I mean?
You can, and I have, but the trouble is once I've taken my clothes off, they're still laughing. That's the problem.
Well, I hope you laugh at me, love.
Yeah, but seriously, though,
what you've got, it's how you use it.
I am fascinated, though, by that psychology that you could be so confident on the one hand and so insecure on another. Have you tried to sort of dig deep and work out how you can have had the issues you have and at the same time be so confident?
Well, yeah, because I had years of cognitive therapy, and I mean real cognitive therapy. I don't mean a counsellor who got a degree off the back of a cornflakes pack, after 3 weeks training. I mean proper psychiatrist. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Alex. I'm odd. I've always been an odd person. I was an odd child. I loved being with loads of people, then I loved being on my own. I used to open the door and lie to kids and go, I can't play out, my mum and dad won't let me, and my mum and dad would go, we will. But I just used to go, shh. I just didn't want to go out. I loved being with me. That's how it was, and the way I've always been. But
so let me ask this question then.
Might you love me or hate me? There's no kind of in between, really.
But what's interesting about that then, I wonder whether you've got so much time with yourself that you're too almost intelligent and you're thinking too much, and that could lead to some of the neurosis that you've suffered. Do you think that could be possible?
Totally agree with you. I am typical Aquarian, genius bordering on madness. I am opinionated, self-obsessed, but I'm also a great listener and a great mentor. I appreciate beauty in all areas of life and youth and vitality. That's why I love to teach and write. But I've never been the kind of bird that's, bothered by a prettier girl next to me. I know a lot of celebs are. I really, really don't care, because if there's a 20-year-old beauty blonde on one side of me and a 30-year-old stunning brunette on the other, I think you're quite seriously insane if you don't want to spend your time with me. And if they've got something better, well, do you know what? Well done, girls. Good luck to you.
Is this bravado, or do you really believe that?
No, I seriously believe it, but I always have done. I mean, don't get me wrong, Alex. I was an angry fat bird, defensive. And I do think when you're fat, it makes you angry. And I think it makes you quite ruthless. I mean, the saddest thing about being a big fatty is when I see the big fatties now saying, oh, no, I'm happy, and I say you're a liar, is that I didn't go, I'm a big fat bird and aren't I great? I went, I'm a big fat ugly bird, but I know how everything else is wonderful about me. That's what I'm saying. I didn't kind of go, look at all my fat, doesn't that make me sexy? I just look like you'd have a good time with me, whether we were talking or in the bedroom or the kitchen or wherever. So
now when you look in the mirror and you've lost this huge amount of weight, what do you see?
Well, that's a whole, God, I could spend hours telling you that, Alex, I'll be honest with you. It took me a while to get to grips with going into Harvey Nicks and being able to try a pair of Gucci or Prada pants on with a zip and a button at the side that was size 8, and I could get my fingers in. It took me a while to get to grips with that. What is funny is most of my friends say, you now think like a skinny bird. I actually do watch what I eat. I mean, the gastric band that I had it done with the hospital group in this country, and they're phenomenal. And I did research the clinics, and what I liked about the hospital group was, Alex, their post-care is brilliant. And you have regular checkups, and I don't mean because of who I am. But, the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? I didn't want to be one of those celebrities who kind of went, well, I've gone from a size 20 to a size 14 and then bailed it back on again, I knew when I do something, I knew from a size 28 I was going to get to an 8 or a 6, to the point where I was starting to look a bit ridiculous, too thin. I mean, I've never been a beauty. I'm no oil painting. You know what I mean? Just the way it goes, isn't it? The way the cookie crumbles. I'm 5'1". I'm never going to be tall and elegant. That's just the way it is. Physically,
though, I mean, one of the things I've struggled with, just losing 4 stone, is the toll it takes on the body. I mean, are you a big mess under the clothes, or how is it looking?
No. Do you know what? I've got I've got a lot of skin around my stomach. I'm quite lucky in so much as, I mean, I don't think I look 51. But my skin's good on my arms and my body. I'm quite lucky that way. I have quite greasy, oily skin, which has benefited me in later life. So no, I don't look horrendous. I've just got, I guess, a flap of skin, my stomach, but it's not kind of down to my knees. And, inevitably I lost the big boobs, so I've got my boobs at the moment are like golf balls in socks. People say they're like spaniel's ears. No, I could wrap mine round the back of my neck. But And I've got a big, sexy, younger husband, and my God, does he love me. Funny enough, we were just laughing walking through town. I'm looking at all these girls and going, no, she looks fab, and he's not one of them fellas who looks to the floor. He'll look with me and go, well, no, yeah, or whatever.